We're all here at PlatformCon 2025 because we believe in the power of platform engineering. We see the potential that it brings to our companies, our customers, and the industry. But what we talk about a lot is the tooling or the technical challenges that our organizations face. What if I were to tell you that there's one tool that could help with practically every problem you have? This tool is often neglected and forgotten, but it's time to dust it off and get back to the basics. This tool is communication. Hi, everybody. I'm Madeline Van Der Paelt Webster. I'm a developer turned development manager. I am intensely passionate about improving the way that technology teams work together. And today I want to talk about communication. After spending the last few years in a platform engineering role, I found that platform engineers are uniquely situated at the center of this web of engineering organizations. When you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Who are our customers? The other engineers, the security teams, the site reliability engineers, the leadership team, all of the people involved in the software development lifecycle within our organization. Our job is to make their lives easier so that in turn, they can deliver value to their customers quicker and with higher quality. But what does it actually mean to make their lives easier? A lot of the time, we look towards improving the tools or the processes that they're using. The one process that unites us all is communication. Throughout my career, no matter the company I've been at or the role I've been in, one thing has become very clear to me, and that is that communication is the key to driving success. Recently, I had the opportunity to work with a site reliability engineering group, or SRE team. In order to get to know my customers better, the SRE team, I ran a quarterly survey for enablement. And my goal was to find out how I could make their lives easier. What issues were they coming across that were top of mind? What tooling or processes did they need improved so that they felt supported and able to do their jobs? How was it that I could help improve their organization? What I found out from the surveys really surprised me. Their biggest issue wasn't a tool and it wasn't a process, but rather that they didn't understand their role in the organization or the way that it might be changing and evolving. This team was working at a company which had told its developers, you build it, you own it, you run it. Sound familiar to anybody? Well, that meant that the developers had started taking on more of these tasks that were traditionally part of the SRE's role and responsibility. Things like observability and monitoring for their applications. That left the SRE team members kind of at a loss and wondering what their place was in the organization and what the future held for them. What they really needed wasn't a new tool or a better process, but communication from their leadership team. They needed to know what their role was and the value that they were bringing to the organization. After discovering this, I brought it to the attention of the management team, the directors, the senior leadership. I used the data from the surveys and I urged them to have a regularly scheduled all-hands meeting where they could talk about the vision for SRE, the evolution of their role in the organization, and the value that they were creating. Now, it didn't happen overnight, but between the survey data and actually assisting with the content of the all-hands, I convinced the leadership team to do it. The all hands was a resounding success. The survey that followed it had so much positive feedback. The team members reported feeling better supported, and many left comments asking for the all hands to become a regular thing. The best part was the data. Gonna geek out here a little bit, but the data actually showed that the SRE team members were better aligned with the organization's vision, that they had better clarity on their roles, and that they felt more engaged. Isn't that amazing? Like, seriously. When people are aligned on a vision and they understand the role they play in bringing that value to their customers, they're much more motivated to learn and grow and contribute to the company's success. So how did I make that happen? Communication. It's the best tool that any of us can have. I communicated with a lot of people in my organization. I built relationships with them based on trust and mutual respect. I asked a lot of questions. And I listened. I tried to absorb as much of what they were telling me as I possibly could. I asked more questions to try and understand better. I sought first to understand their ways of working and why they did the things they did and how they did them, rather than working from assumptions that I might have already had. After building these relationships and this trust, I sought feedback from the SRE team through my surveys. Most importantly, I did my very best to address the feedback and maintain their trust. Communication is a two-way street, but it's really on the person trying to relay the information to do so in a way that makes sense to the person receiving it. When I first brought up the idea of an all hands, I failed to make it happen. I had to try again and again to relay the value that I thought the all hands would bring to the organization, because I wasn't communicating it in a way that made it seem important and valuable to the leadership team. We eventually got there, but it took patience and practice and curiosity from both sides. Platform engineers are better situated than most. I said this at the beginning, and I truly believe it, because we're at the core of that network internally. We have some superpowers because of our place in the organization, and we need to use them. Because we're at the middle of that whole network, we get to know everybody from across sites, across team boundaries, across functional groups like development, SRE, security, product, leadership. We have the ability and the unique opportunity to connect with all of these people, and we need to take advantage of it. We need to learn from our network, ask them a lot of questions, get to know what they're working on, what they're up to, what's working really well for them, and maybe what's not so good. With this network, we can connect them to other people in the organization who might have similar questions or similar problems. We can share all of the awesome things that we've been learning as an organization, and we can make those connections happen for other people. We're also in a great position to gather data. A lot of other teams are focused on maybe their product or a feature that they're putting out, or they're down in the weeds trying to solve a bug that's been bothering them. Our product is the software development lifecycle. Our customers are all the people involved in that. So we get to focus on them. And nobody else does. So if we're creating a tool or changing a process, Just like we should be adding metrics and observability to code, we should be adding them to our tools and our processes so we know if it's working for people or if they like what we're building so that we can improve them. We can run surveys with our customers. We can talk to them at the water cooler or over lunch or when we're passing them in a hall or over a virtual coffee chat. And we can take all of that information from all of these sources and use it to figure out how to better serve our customers and how to improve our organizations. We also need to connect with them on a human level. Networking and getting to know people is fun, but we also need to understand how they like to be communicated with. We also need to understand how we like to communicate. I am a storyteller. I like to connect with people by talking about shared experiences, telling them what I've learned and hearing what they've learned and how we can adapt and try different things and experiment together. Somebody else might have come in and thrown up a bunch of data from the survey on the slides with graphs and metrics. Somebody else might logic their way through a conversation. By understanding your own tendencies and how the person or people you're communicating with want to receive information, we can actually adjust the way that we communicate, the language we use, our tone of voice, all of these things to create effective conversations. If you bring all these things together, what it really enables is intentional influence. Now, I know that the word influence can have negative connotations for some people, but the fact of the matter is we influence people all the time, every day, whether you're conscious of it or not. The way we act, the way we speak, the way we present ourselves, it influences every interaction that we have, whether we're at home or in our communities or at work. So why aren't we more intentional about it? You've taken the time to get to know your network. You've taken the time to connect with them and understand how they like to communicate. You've got some data at your disposal. It's time to put that all together and put it into action by being intentional about the way that you interact with them. Think about what you're trying to do. Whether it's rolling out a new tool or creating a more collaborative environment, you're trying to convince people to change something. People don't like change. It's scary, it's new, it's uncomfortable. You have to put on your marketing hat and you have to get them to buy into whatever it is you're selling. That requires a thought out plan. It requires being intentional. Using our network, the data we've discovered, and our awesome new communication skills, we can shape the way our organizations work and ultimately create a better experience for our customers. And isn't that what this is all about? Our job as platform engineers is to make the lives of everyone around us easier. They're counting on us to enable them. And in order to do that, we have to guide them through this discomfort and change with intention. Communication brings clarity and it brings alignment. It's the best tool you have at your disposal, so don't neglect it. Pay attention to it, be intentional, and just talk to each other. Everyone around you will thank you for it, whether it's at home or at work. Hone those communication skills and you'll do awesome things. Thank you so much for joining my talk today. I hope that you've enjoyed it. And please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or at my blog on dev.to. Bye.